It said, a merchant shall hardly keep himself from doing wrong, and a huckster shall not be free from sin. Let me read the first part again. A merchant shall hardly keep himself from doing wrong. Those of us in sales, we got to be careful because it's easy to lie. It's easy to cheat. It's easy to manipulate when you're in sales. You have to have a honest, a fear, and a reverence. And guess what? I'm not the only person on this live that sell. Every single last one of you all earn sales in some way or another. Just like every single last one of you all on this live are in real estate. You might not think you are, but guess what? You either on one side of the spectrum or the other. You're the owner or you the renter. It's that simple. So right here, you either the seller or you the buyer. You're in sales, either way it go. All right. And you're selling others and you're being sold. Nothing, they say in the business world, nothing happens until a sale takes place. So let's continue. Now let's go to chapter 27, verse 1. Ecclesiastes 27:1. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. Some people, when they are so thirsty to make the sales, they will turn their eyes away. They would get real shady when the money gets on the line. This is why we have to pray continually to our Almighty, because it says right here in the wisdom books, many have sinned for a small matter. When you go to the book of Proverbs, it said that a man would transgress for a piece of bread. How low can you go? Let's continue. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. As a nail stick fast between the joining of the stones, so does sin stick close to buying and selling. Number 3, unless a man holds himself diligently in the fear of Yah, his house shall soon be overthrown. This is what we do not want to happen. We don't want our house to be overthrown because we're out here lying. We're out here cheating. We're out here manipulating to make sales. Like, it's a thin line. We have to be honest. What does it say in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1? It said, a false balance is an abomination to the Most High. The Most High like just weights and just scales. He wants everything to be honest and even, if you will. So what are some other people that had to sell? I'm going over some scriptures, and then I'm gonna get into the practicality of what I'm talking about. All right. So I'm laying the groundwork with some scriptures first, and then I'm going to talk to the practical side of selling and speaking, and then we're gonna close it out. So let's go to Genesis 24. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna read the whole Genesis 24. I'm looking at my clock and I want to make sure I stay on time. But if you go to Genesis chapter 24, you will see that this is the point to where Sarah died and Abraham had to buy a burial place for her. I didn't say that the Most High rained down a burial place out of the sky. He had to go and negotiate. He had to make a bargain. And so he went to the children of Heth, which are the Hittites, and he went to the children of Heth and he said, listen, I need to bury my dead. And the children of Heth, they came to him and they said, listen, what is that between me and you? Bury your dead. But Abraham said, no, tell me the price of the land. Abraham went and purchased some land. This was a business transaction. Tell me the price of the land. I think he said, what is that, 400 shekels? What is that between me and me? And he said he weighed out the price of the purchase. But what happened is, and the Genesis just kind of skirts over, but when you go to the book of Jasher, the book of Yashar, he said he stamped it, he notarized that purchase. That was a business transaction, not just for him, but it was for his children that was going to come in the subsequent days ahead. It was for Isaac, it was for Jacob to bury their dead as well. So land back in ancient times, it symbolizes dominion. It symbolized dominion. It symbolizes promise. It symbolizes prophecy. That's what land symbolized back then. I know things have changed over time. They went to land, which land is still the greatest form, probably the greatest form of wealth on the earth right now. Is land ownership. People like kind of sweeping under the rug. I was watching a documentary with my wife back like a few years ago. They talk about the men that built America. And they was talking about all these people that owned the water. And they talked about the Carnegies. They owned the railroads and the steel. And they talked about the Rockefellers. And they talked about the Fords and all the car industries and the DuPonts and all that. They didn't say nothing about who owned the land, though. Why? Because they would have told you who really owned everything. They would have told you who was more richer than anybody else. Talked about Vanderbilts. They didn't say nothing about the Rockefellers, Rothschilds. They talked about the Vanderbilts. They talked about all these other people. But who really owns the land? Let's continue though. So that's a form of wealth. So there was a sale that took place. We have to get this thing in our mind when those of us that believe in the scripture, we believe in the word, but individuals, they want to act as if, talking about money is an evil thing. You shouldn't talk about it, especially around some of these people that say, I keep laws, statutes, and commandments. You start talking about money, you done turned them off. They logging in, they logging right back out. They don't want to hear what you got to say because you talk about money, and they want to try to compare you to a prosperity gospel. That's why I had to start a business channel for my business and sales videos, because people on my main page, they were starting to be like, hey man, you started talking about money too much. You start talking about finance and business. So I'm gonna create a whole nother page so you know exactly what you're getting into. As soon as you click on one of these videos, I don't want to hear you talk about bit, because this is all about sales and business. But let's get back to my point. So now let's go to Acts chapter 16 for a second. Acts chapter 16. Once again, this is not a part of the four main wisdom books, of course, I like to stay in, but I want to talk about another woman in the scripture that was business minded. Acts chapter 16, and we're going to go to verse number 14. Now we go to 13. And on the Sabbath, we went out of the city by the riverside where prayer wont to be made, and we sat down and spake unto the women which resorteth there. 14. And a certain woman named Lydia, a seller of purple of the city of Thyatira, which worshiped Yah, heard us, whose heart Yah opened, that she attended unto the things which were spoken of by Paul. Pay attention to what it said about Lydia. It didn't just say that she was a worshiper. It says she was a seller of purple. This woman was opening her mouth. This woman sold purple. So that means in order for her to be able to be selling purple, she had to have a connection to where to get the purple from. She had to be in a situation where she was negotiating prices. She was self-employed right here in the scriptures. You hear that? So Lydia was a woman that was doing business, and some of the proceeds of her money was going to support the ministry of Paul. Lydia. So now let's go back to Proverbs 31. I know this scripture is not this lesson ain't all about women, but we're going to one more woman. Proverbs chapter 31. Some of y'all already know where I'm going, but guess what? We have to be business minded in these days that we're in. We're about to get to the practicality here in a second. Proverbs chapter 31, and we're going to go to, we already know this talking about the virtuous women. All right, verse 23. I'm gonna go back up. Matter of fact, there's so many attributes to this woman, is crazy. All right, and I know this is a hard thing for women to live up to. I know it is. Some women say, "Listen, I ain't gonna never be that." All right, but let's look at some of these attributes. It says right here in verse number 13, she seeks wool and flax and works willingly with her hands. She goes to seek wool and flax. She's busy. She works willingly with her hands. So as you continue to go down through these scriptures, you're going to also see that she was over here selling. She is like the merchant ship. She brings her food from afar. She also rises yet night and give a portion to her household and a portion to the maidens. Verse number 23, her husband is known when he sits among the elders. Number 24, she maketh fine linen and selleth it. She makes fine linen and selleth it. You see this right here? She had to sell it. Imagine if the virtuous woman is working willingly with her hands. She got this sewing machine. She got all this stuff that she's making, but guess what? She just sitting there sitting on it. She don't have no customers. She don't have no person to buy it. It says she got out here and started selling. This is the point I'm trying to make today. She started to sell. Strength and honor her clothing, and she rejoiced in the time to come. So now let's go back to Genesis for a second. I'm about to get into the practicality here. This is what some people might want to hear. There's a practical side of things. So now I want to go back to Genesis for a second, and I'm just going to quote the scripture. So when we go back to Genesis, right around 41, chapter 42, there was a situation where Joseph was in the market, and when Joseph was second and third in command, Joseph sold real estate. When the people spent all their food, when they came to Joseph and they said, what else do we have? Can we mortgage our, just let us sell our bodies, let us sell ourselves. Guess what Joseph did? He bought them for food, and Joseph bought their homes. Joseph was in real estate. But guess what happened though with Joseph? Guess what Joseph didn't do? He didn't give discounts. The only people that got discounts were his family, Jacob and his brothers and his sister and their family that came down from Canaan. Those were the only people that got discounts, and Pharaoh and the priests of Pharaohs. Everybody else, Joseph did not care. And this is what I want to tell you all as well. There are people that's going to come to you, and just because it's you, they're going to want a discount from you. But I'm here to tell you today that when you start giving these discounts out, you diminish your value immediately. When you start giving the discounts out, Joseph stood firm. He said, give me your food. Give me your houses. I'm not, Joseph could have went to the storehouses. It was the same grain. It was the same food that he had to the side. He could have went to the storehouse and fed them and said, you know what? I got a good heart. I'm going to feed you all because I know the land needs help. No, Joseph said, give me that food. Give me your house too. Give me your animals. Give me all that. And I want you all to develop that mindset today. That's not an evil thing. Listen, if it was evil, the Most High would have made Joseph do it. He would have corrected Joseph and said, brother, you need to give these people. What happens to the 5 wise virgins and the 5 foolish virgins? What about when the 5 wise said, not so, I can't help you? It's a wisdom that comes with you. Staying 10 foot, 10 toes down when you have to hold on to what you have, or you have to sell it.